Hello, my friends. Greetings and salutations. Welcome back. Thank you for joining. We have another career simulation today. But before we get into that, I just want to say if you like this type of content, I've done a couple of different career simulations. We've done a pro style build, a small ball build. We resimulated Coach K's career, and we even did a build predicated on defense. And today, we're going to do a build that's predicated on potential. So you can go back, look at the channel, check those out. But today we're here for potential. Yes, you have potential. You have potential. I see potential in all of you. So that's what I'm going with today. The game kind of treats potential in a little weird way because potential is like it's one of the things that makes your players more pro ready. So they're more likely to get drafted if they have higher potentials. But it also seems like the better players also tend to have the better potential. So for instance, it'd be kind of rare to see a 3-star player with A+ potential. That'd more so be reserved for your 5-star players. So what I'm going to try to do here is recruit players solely based on potential. Maybe I'll get some 3 stars with high potential or some 4 stars with some high potential, and that's what we'll build the program based off of. So here are going to be the rules for this simulation. Rule number 1, the recruitment priorities must stay on potential. So you get 2 of them in the game. They both must stay on potential the entire time of this simulation. So whenever I sort my players that I'm recruiting from best to worst, the best ones are going to be at the top and they're going to be up there based on their potential. Also, I must max out teaching stat first. So that's my ability to develop players, because if we're going with potential, we want to develop those players to their max potential, max out that potential. And I must also pick my assistants based on their teaching stat. So I got to get the assistants with the best teaching stat every year. And here's going to be our build. Hey, it's going to be fairly simple. Just get the players with the most potential, and I'll build a team identity year to year based on the players that I have. So that's what we're going with here today. Now we'll take a look at our coach for this simulation. For this simulation, it's going to be Sam Presti. I know it says Presley here, but that's the only name they had in the memory bank, so I went with that. I think he's currently like 41 or 45, something like that. But I picked him because he's the guy that drafted KD and them to Oklahoma City. KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, Jeff Green. He's just kind of always had an eye for potential. Steven Adams. Drafted all those guys there. And now he's trying to do the same thing, build through the draft again, because he has this eye for potential. And currently, right now, they have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Josh Giddey, Chet Holmgren, and they'll be looking to add another piece to that in this upcoming draft, along with some other great pieces that they have. But he seems like a guy who's good at spotting potential and getting the most potential, getting the most out of that potential. So that's why we chose him. Now it's time to select where we are going to go. So he went to college in Virginia and Boston. And we haven't done anything in Virginia yet. So I'd kind of like to do Virginia. But he went to school in Virginia and Boston. He was also with the Spurs along with the Oklahoma City Thunder. So I think I'm going to go with Virginia. Yeah, let's go with Norfolk State. Actually, we've already done the MEAC. Let's do Radford. So they're in the Big South. So we'll do Radford. That'll be our team. And because we've already discussed where he's been, I'll move to mid-majors in Boston, Virginia, the San Antonio area, as well as the Oklahoma area. So dream schools would be like Oklahoma State, or any of the Texas schools, along with the Virginia schools, and maybe Boston College. So here we are taking a look at our first rotation. Actually, let me go ahead and cut this down to 7, just because this is how bad we are. Team's not good. Typical of these starting out teams, they always give you the worst teams to start out with, because it's like, hey, you're a coach with no experience. You're getting your experience here, so you're going to have a very bad job. But here are our sliders to start out. We are severely undersized, so I'm just running 2-3 zones, going fast break. These are our sliders for season 1. Actually, might need to up that some, just because we're going to be playing small ball. To be honest, I might need to invert these some. Yeah, might as well. We're playing small ball. Might as well. That's what the sliders are looking like, and I'll see you guys at the end of the year. So here we are to end season number 1, and boy was it a doozy. 5-26 on the year, 1-13 in conference play. Repeat of this, and we're sure to get fired. Conference tournament, we would play the regular season champion Winthrop and end up losing. Liberty ended up getting the tournament bid for the Big South. Here's a look at our Final Four. Wow, all 1 seeds. I believe it was all 1 seeds this year in real life. Yes, it was Memphis, Kansas, Carolina, and there's one, UCLA. So those were the 1 seeds in real life. So same thing here. Then Duke beat Carolina in the Final Four. And we got a Coach K Izzo matchup. It's a banner year for college basketball, if I do say so myself. Here's a look at our player stats for the year. Nothing really good at all. I mean, honestly. Except this guy right here, sophomore, got 2 steals a game. That's kind of cool. Take a look at our percentages, and they don't look good. Also take a look at the team stats again. Just don't look good. Here's a look at this year's awards. Michael Beasley averaging 30 and 10. Good googly moogly. Then we'll take a look at our conference awards. That's a pretty good player. That's another pretty good. Well, average 10 and 8. That's pretty good. Here are the recruits we were able to get in year 1. Not bad. Hopefully this center's kind of like a diamond in the rough kind of player, because the game really underrates centers. So hopefully that's what he is. Here's a look at his stats and his ratings. We'll go through these for the rest of the players as well. Some of them I wasn't able to recruit fully or scout fully. So here we are to recap the season. We'll go over what the legacy score is. So basically this is a formula that will calculate our coaching score. So if we'll look at it, we have some coaches who are already on our leaderboard, and they get points for certain feats that they accomplish. Winning a conference championship gives you 3 points. A 30-win season is 2 points. Making the NCAA tournament is 1 point. A Sweet 16 is 2 points. An Elite 8 is 3 points. A Final Four is 4 points. And a national championship is 5 points. So, for example, Mike Krzyzewski has 5 national championships, so he gets 25 points from that. Dean Smith has 3 30-win seasons, so he gets 6 points from that. That's how it will operate. And we'll scroll down, take a look at our score, and womp womp, big fat 0. Hopefully we'll add to it soon and we don't get fired by Radford. So here are our rotations on the year. A much improved team. We'll take a look at the freshmen we brought in. This guy I'm really looking forward to carry the day offensively, just because he's a pretty good three-point shooter, at least for the level we're at. There's the center we had. Was expecting him to be better, but is what it is. And then the other two freshmen right here. They were 2-star guys, so this is the expectation. Here we are at the end of season number 2. We had a pretty good bounce back season, going 18-13 in conference play. 18-13 overall, 7-7 in conference play. We would catch fire in the conference tournament, winning our first 2 games, and we would go on to play in the championship game. Wow, that got ugly in the second half. What can you do? We'll come back and be better next year. Here's what our stats look like. Even though we failed to make the tournament, here is your Final Four. This is that North Carolina team with Tyler Hansborough actually going on to win the Final Four, just like in real life. Here are our individual stats on the year. Freshman Ernest Fallu leading the way out of Brooklyn, New York. Also take a look. Well, real quick, we had 3 guys average 6 rebounds is pretty cool. We also had our point guard average 6.7 assists. We'll take a look at our shooting percentages. So our guys, they shot the ball fairly well. Free throw percentage is abysmal. They shot it fairly well for this level. Here's a look at the team stats. We led the league in scoring as well as assists. We'll take a look at percentages as well. Didn't really lead it in any shooting percentage. Here's a look at our awards on the season. Andrew Bogut went off on Utah, or for Utah. Wisconsin they have often the chance to get a pretty good freshman if you do a closed legacy or an open legacy. Oftentimes they've got a chance to get a pretty good freshman. Might be the playing time. So we did get Conference Freshman of the Year. The freshman was also first team all conference. It's pretty neat. We had 2 second team all conference performers and a freshman all conference performer. Here's a look at our recruits here. Not a bad haul for a small school. These guys have pretty good potential to be this low rated, so hopefully we can develop them into something nice. Take a look at their ratings and their stats. And we still have a big fat 0 on our legacy leaderboard. Hopefully we'll add to that next season. We are back for season number 3. Here's what the team's looking like. Let's take a look at these freshmen. We have 2 of them starting. We'll start with the guy highest overall right here. He was recruited as a center, but we've moved him to power forward. Here's our other freshman. Because he's such a good small forward, I ended up moving our guy who was the freshman of the year last year to shooting guard, since he can shoot threes. And we have 1 more freshman right here. Alright, so the expectations for the year, hopefully we can make an NCAA tournament bid or win a conference title, maybe 20 wins. We are the best team in the conference at a 77 overall. So let's see how it goes. And this was not the step forward we were looking for in season 3. We went 15-17 on the year, 4-10 in conference play. We would beat Liberty in the first round of the tournament, but we ended up getting bounced by Charleston Southern in the second round of the conference tournament. And here's your final 4 with Arizona winning the whole shebang. Here's a look at our individual stats on the year. Real even distribution on the scoring. Had 3 players average 5 rebounds a game. Had 5 players average 4 rebounds a game. That's pretty impressive. Here's a look at our team stats. Second in scoring on the conference. Not too bad for the conference we're in. Here's a look at the awards on the season. Back-to-back conference freshman of the year for us. 2 first-team all-conference performers, 2 second-team all-conference performers. Wow, I thought we'd have done better with all this. Mighty fine recruiting class here for Radford University. Hopefully we get better offensively. Take a look at these guys real quick. Pause. And it's year 3. We're still not even on the scoreboard for our coach's score, but we'll get there, hopefully. Here we are to start another season, season number 4. Here's a look at our starting lineup. Expectations about the same as last year. Take a look at some of the freshmen. Not Holt. All right, here he is. There might have been 2 more, maybe. Here's one. I think there's one more. Yeah, right here. Alright, well, we'll catch you guys to end the season. Here we are, end of season number 4. We went 20-11 on the year, 9-5 in conference play. In the conference tournament, we would get through the first 2 rounds here in order to go and face Winthrop in the conference championship game. And here's some highlights. Ouch, tough loss, tough loss. Hey, it's how the cookie crumbles. Hopefully we get that NCAA tournament bid soon though. We did get the 20-win season, so we got a point for that. Here's a look at this year's Final Four with Alabama taking it home back to Tuscaloosa. And here are our player stats on the year. We averaged a lot of rebounds. It'd be good to check, see what our rebound margin was, given how many rebounds we averaged. We'll take a look at our percentages real quick. And we shot the ball all right. Pretty good from the field. 3 free throw strike, not so much. Here's a look at the team stats. Now we'll take a look at this year's awards. I believe that was Taj Gibson from USC getting Player of the Year. I believe that's who that is. So we did get Freshman of the Year again. Holt was first team all conference. We had 2 players get second team all conference. And then 2 all freshman performers. This year we only had 1 scholarship, with it going to Corey Marks out of Charlotte, North Carolina. I had him and another guy. The other guy, he really looked like a better overall player, but this guy's got higher potential, so that's what I went with. And then just to recap the season, we are still not on the coaching leaderboard. It's a drought. Here we are to start season number 5. Here's a look at our rotation. Also take a look at our 1 freshman we got. But expectations this year, we have to make the tournament. Guaranteed tournament year. We are by far the best team in our conference. We should make it, and we should push 30 wins, like 25 wins and a conference championship to go along with the NCAA tournament bid. That's this year's expectations. Let's take a look at our 1 freshman we picked up. So he did have a high potential. Redshirted him. He's starting as a 66. Let's see how he develops. He's a small guard. I think I want to develop him to be an offensive guy, but I got to get his passing up. All right, I'll see you guys at the end of the season. It is the end of season number 5. We went 26-8 on the year, 14-0 in conference play, winning our first regular season conference championship. Also our first time getting 25 or more wins. In the conference tournament, we would blitz both Coastal Carolina and VMI. We'd go on to play in the conference championship game against Liberty University. You can check out those highlights. All right, we blitzed these guys too. For a second there, it was looking kind of bleak, but we ended up pulling away. Good job for the boys. Here's a look at this year's Final Four. Michigan State taking it all the way. We did get a Bill Self Tom Izzo matchup, followed up by a Tom Izzo Bob Huggins matchup. Pretty impressive, pretty cool. Here's a look at our stats on the year. Guys played pretty well. Take a look at these percentages, and we shot the ball fairly well. Stevens almost had a 50-40-90. Guys don't really tend to shoot that good from the free throw line on this game. Here are our team stats for the year. Really at the top of the conference for just about every single stat. So good on us. See how we shot in the conference. Best field goal percentage in the conference. So three-pointers. Best free throw percentage. Here go this year's awards. So we won the regular season conference championship and our first conference coach of the year award. Oh wow, we did go against that guy at Liberty. He wasn't that good against our guys though. Had 2 first team all conference performers. Pinkala putting together quite the career. Depending on what he does next year, we could end up looking at him for that Hall of Fame. We'll see. Holt 3 times first team all conference. That's pretty good. I might have to consider him as well. But they've both got 1 more year. So I'm kind of let those 2 guys be the main guys we run our offense through next year. And we'll see what they bring us back. Also had a second team performer. His backup was pretty good, but he was hurt this year. So we're going to have a really good team next year. Here's a look at our recruits on the year. Decent class. All right, and I'll see you guys to start the next season. Here we go. We finally hit the scoreboard. A score of 4. Actually, hold on. That's not even right. Because it should be. We won both. That's right. A score of 7 to start off. Not too bad. Not too bad. We'll look to add more. Here we go for season 6. Honestly, expect a repeat of last year. Very, very good, solid season. Multiple conference banners. As well as an NCAA tournament bid, and hopefully that'll be enough to get both of those guys into our Hall of Fame, because know that the scale is smaller for, in terms of what you got to do to get into our Hall of Fame. The lower your conference rank is, the harder things are to do, the less we demand in terms of score. But we'll take a look at our freshmen. I got a couple that are redshirted, actually. Yeah. So I got about 3. Here's 2 of them. They're redshirted. So here's 1. Probably end up moving him to power forward. So I'll end up wanting to work on his rebounding. There was another guy, shooting guard. Probably him, yes. Alright, and I'll see you guys at the end of the season. Here we are to end season number 6, our best season yet. We are 32-1 on the year, 14-0 in conference play, winning another regular season conference championship. Also meaning we have now gone 28-0 in conference play. And if we can win a conference tournament, that will have meant we went 34-0 over the last 2 seasons if we win the conference championship. So let's go there. In the first round, we would destroy Charleston Southern and then do the same to High Point. And we would go on to face UNC Asheville. And we destroy UNC Asheville as well. Got to see a lot out of the freshman Joel Miles. If we're here for a long time, then he could be another Hall of Fame candidate player just because he's such a good shooter. He's going to put up a whole bunch of points. And in the first round of the NCAA tournament, we actually get our first career tournament win. Pinkala going off for 22-5 for us. He's having a great senior year, but we would then lose a 3 seed Alabama. Here are our individual stats for the year. Take a look at our shooting percentages. And we shot the ball very well. Very well. Here are our team stats. Just wow, we averaged 91 points a game in a small conference. 35.4 rebounds, 18. I mean, we really led the conference in everything. Let's see how we did in terms of field goal percentage. Wow, we blew everybody out of the water in both categories, as well as free throw shooting. Let's see where we rank nationally. So we actually led the country in scoring. We're almost the leader in assists, up there in steals, and pretty good in terms of fouls per game. I wonder where our percentages rank. Clemson was the only school with a better field goal percentage, and we were one of the top teams in terms of 3-point percentage as well. So wow, very impressive year. I'm going to have to export this team. Here's a look at this year's awards. This guy right here, this recruit, we actually, no, it's not him. Maybe it's this guy. Yes, this guy, we were in the running for him, but didn't end up getting him. Clemson took him from us. So we did get the Conference Player of the Year. 4 first-team All-Conference selections and 1 second-team All-Conference selection and 1 All-Freshman Conference selection. Here are our recruits on the year. Very solid recruiting class. Take a look at their stats and then their ratings. And here we are to recap the year. We're at 16 now. So far, so good. About 100 more points. We'll pass Billy Donovan. And we also have some players inducted into our Hall of Fame. First, we'll start with Randolph. First, we'll start with Randolph Pinkala. He's from Lynchburg, Virginia. Played small forward, senior, 6'6", 241 pounds. He was the number 108 ranked player in his class, 38th for his position. Went to Radford University, where he wore number 13 and finished with an 87 overall. He led the team to 2 NCAA tournament bids, including an NCAA tournament win. He won 2 regular season conference championships, as well as two conference tournament championships. He would go on to win Conference Freshman of the Year, as well as Conference Player of the Year. Was 3-time first team All Conference, as well as 1 time being second team All Conference, and was also on the Freshman All Conference team. He finishes with a total legacy score of 32. And now we'll go on to his teammate, Archie Holt, who's from Hampton, Virginia, played small forward, left the university as a senior, standing at 6'10", 257 pounds. He was the number 107 ranked player in his class and 3 for his position. At Radford University, he wore number 50, finished as a 90 overall, went to the NCAA tournament twice, including getting the school an NCAA tournament win, also winning 2 regular season conference championships and 2 conference tournament championships. This guy was 3 times first team All Conference, as well as second team All Conference 1 year, and also his freshman year he was freshman team All Conference. He finishes with a final legacy score of 26. Now normally your threshold is going to be about 30 here for these small conference schools, but we gave it to him because the only reason he didn't get a player of the year or something to put him that much up is because he played with another guy who won freshman of the year and conference freshman of the year. So if they weren't in the same recruiting class, there's potential that he could have gotten that bid instead. All right, so we'll see you guys to start the next season. Here we are at the start of season 7. This is what the rotation looks like. We'll be starting 4 seniors and a freshman. So we'll go ahead and take a look at our freshmen. And then we had a couple more. And here's the last one. Alright, but expectation for the year, more conference title banners being hung, and another NCAA tournament. See you guys at the end of the season. So here we are to end season number 6. We went 32-2 on the year, 14-0 in conference play. If we can win the conference championship, then that would mean we've won 51 straight games against conference opponents. And we waltzed through the first 2 rounds of the tournament. And we'll go check out the championship game against Liberty again. We were able to walk through Liberty fairly easy once again for another conference tournament championship. We did not have any luck picking up an NCAA tournament win this year. We did play well against Kentucky, just not good enough. We'll take a look at the Final Four. Rhode Island taking it all home. Here are our player stats on the year. Another 20-point a game scorer with Tobias. Here's our team stats, 94 on the year. I'm going to just go straight on to the national rankings to see where we rank. So we actually led the nation in scoring We were up there in rebounding, led the nation in assists, led the nation in steals. One of the best teams in terms of turnovers, and that's pretty good regarding for the sliders. This year I maxed out our tempo and fast break. And we'll take a look at our percentages. So second in field goal percentage. Decent 3-point percentage. Here's a look at the awards for us this year. As Portland team, they should really get ready to run it back, bring everybody back. We're not Portland, Rhode Island. Tripping. And I hate these glitches. So another conference player of the year, freshman of the year, 2 first team all conference selections, and 3 second team all conference selections. I'll only have one of those players returning from the first and second all conference team. Of course, all my freshmen will be back. And here's our recruiting class for the year, slightly improved over previous seasons. And to end season number 7, we are here with a legacy score of 23. Hoping to add even more to it next year. See you guys as we clear out. Alright, here we are to wrap up the season. I misrecorded the beginning of the season, so I'll show you what rotation we ended with, as well as show you the freshmen. But we went 28-5 in year 12 in the year. We went 28-5, 12-2 in conference play. So we did end up losing our streak. We lost our streak to Liberty, losing to them twice. I believe the streak ended at about 55 games. These are the rotations we went with. And I'll take a look, show you guys the freshmen. Alright, here's the first one. He came in as a 74, so he went up about 3 points. Here's another. And there should be 2 more. Maybe 3. 3 more. In the first round of the conference tournament, we would blank VMI. Then do the same to Winthrop, en route to another conference championship game against Liberty. And we took out Liberty as well. Elias, player of the game, dropped 20 points on 13 shots. We would have no luck in the NCAA tournament as we bow out to Seton in the first round. Seton Hall. Here is the Final Four. 4 Big 12 teams making it. Kansas for the win. Here's a look at our stats on the year. Miles, he went off, pretty much averaging 19 and 6. Take a look at our percentages, what our guys shot. And it looks like they shot the ball pretty well. We got Atzer here shooting 63% from the field. That's pretty neat. Here's a look at our team stats, really leading the conference in just about everything. Yep, everything except for turnovers. So good deal. Here's a look at this year's awards. Should get 200 wins next year. Two first team all conference players. They'll both be back. Second team all conference player, he'll be back as well. He did this coming off the bench. And a freshman all conference player. And we had no recruits on the year, no scholarships to give out. Boosted the score up to 27 this year, hoping to crack 30 next year. We'll see you guys to start the next season. Alright, here we'll take a look at this year's rotation. Expectation with a roster this good here. It's going to be hang a banner or two. Let's take a look at our freshmen. Oh, we didn't have any. So same team as last year. Let's get it. Here we are at the end of season number 9. It was a good one with 30-2, so another 30-win season, another regular season conference championship in the books for Sam Presti at Radford. In round 1 of the conference tournament, Miles would go off for 34 points as we rout UNC Asheville. And in the second round, 99-38. Wow. Just steamrolling everybody, and we'll go on to play in the championship game. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of thought they had us in the first half. But Miles and Zimmerman combined for 50. Marks gets 14 assists. Good deal as we take down High Point. In the tournament, we would lose in the first round to South Florida. Here's a look at the Final Four. Oregon taking it home for Phil Knight. NIL paying off for him. Here are our player stats on the year. Little spoiler alert, Miles here, he won the Conference Player of the Year. And this is just impressive that he was able to win Player of the Year, put up 25 and 3 and 2 steals, with everybody else averaging 10 points on the team. Team stats off the chart again, as usual. Only 10 turnovers a game. We play with a lot of pace. I mean, a lot of pace. 46 from the field, 37 from 3, 70 from the charity stripe. We're just really good. Here's a look at this year's awards. Wow, what a glitch. What a glitch. Come on, man. Again, Miles, he won the Conference Player of the Year. 4 first-team all-conference players. That's something else. Then our 5th guy, he was a second-team selection. And we did have an all-freshman team selection as well. We only had 2 scholarships to give out this year. These are our 2 recruits. You like to see high potential guys come in here. This guy can shoot. Hopefully this guy right here is not just tall man. And as we recap the year, we're now at 38 total points for our coach. Hoping we get moved to a major conference soon. We will need to go somewhere that Sam Presti has been in the NBA. So Texas or Oklahoma, those are our 2 options. But we will also be inducting a player into the Hall of Fame. So Joel Miles out of Charlotte, North Carolina, played shooting guard for Radford University, where he left as a senior, standing at 6'2", 196 pounds. He was the number 116 overall recruit and the number 30 recruit for his position. He wore number 25, finished as a 90 overall. He played in 4 NCAA tournaments, won 3 regular season conference championships and 4 conference tournament championships. He was also the Conference Player of the Year in the Big South, also twice first team all conference in the Big South, along with a all freshman selection in the conference and a second team all Big South selection. Finishes with a legacy score of 38 points, and you can check out his stats here. So this year's rotation will be looking a little different. Last year we ran a 3-yard lineup. This year we have a lot of size pause. And for that reason, we will be running these sliders. Try to take advantage of some of that size, even on the bench. Like our 3 best players off the bench are center, power forward, and a 6'7", 240-pound small forward. So we're going to try to take advantage of that size more so and be physical, play defense. And we'll take a look at that rotation real quick. So here's what that rotation is looking like. Actually, I think I want to disperse these minutes evenly amongst these guys here. But we'll take a look at the freshmen. We had 2 of them. Both got red-shirted. Here's what they look like. See you guys at the end of the year. Expectation, of course, hang some banners at Radford. Here we are to start season number 11, our first season with Tulsa, and I changed up the sliders. I want to show them to you and you'll see why. We're basically going to have to grind this out. We have to limit the other team's possessions as much as possible and just play lockdown defense. I mean, there's no other way we can win, and you'll see why when you see the roster. So let's go on there. This is that roster. You'll notice our best players, we got like a log jam of 72 to 75. This is where like our top 6-7 players are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you'll notice what's not there, a point guard, and I don't have anybody with passing at 70 or higher. So I'm just going to have to play the point guard that I got, who they recruited last year. It's the guy they recruited, not me, and he's right here. 66 overall. Can't really do much offensively, and his passing handling's real low. So let's see what happens. So here we are to end season number 11, maybe the worst year we've had in the simulation on the entire channel. 11-20 on the year, 3-13 in conference play. Let's just be honest, in the conference tournament, we stood no chance, getting obliterated by Memphis in the first round. Here's a look at the Final Four. Now we'll take a look at our individual stats on the year. Nothing crazy, nothing that really stands out. And then for team stats, bottom of the barrel all the way across. Ooh, the freshmen we're bringing in, I hope they make an impact. Here's a look at this year's award. This is so glitchy, bro. Ain't no way that nigga really averaged 40. Did he? Damn, he really averaged 40. Did he though? How many games did he play? Alright. So we did get a NCAA all-freshman team selection. And 2 CUSA all-conference freshman selections. These are the recruits we're bringing in, so I do look to see an immediate impact, bringing in a lot of point guards to hopefully mitigate the point guard issue that we had this season. They all have fairly high potential. Now we did get a couple world recruits, don't really know anything about them. And we're still at 47 for our legacy score because we didn't do anything really. Here's a look at our rotation to start the year. A bunch of new faces. Let's take a look at some of them. Moved Gibbs to the 3. That way we can make use of all those point guards we picked up. I think I'm actually end up redshirting him. Then our last 2 were our international guys. They are red shirts as well. And we'll catch you guys at the end of the year. Here we are to end season number 12. Number 2 at Tulsa. 18-15 on the year. 6-10 in conference play. So we are showing some improvement. We did get kind of hot at the end of the year. To add to that hot streak, we would go into the conference tournament and win 2 games, almost won 3 going to the conference championship game. Here's a look at this year's Final Four. Oregon mollywopping Duke. Here's a look at our player stats on the year. Nothing that really stands out too much. Much better positioning on the stat chart leaderboard this year as far as team stats go. Middle of the pack. Essentially with everything at the top with some things. A lot better than being at the bottom. Here's a look at the awards for the season. I'll never get Player of the Year anything like this. This glitch is crazy. So just an all freshman conference performer. Here's a look at this year's recruits. They're not really the highest rated players, but they all do have really good potential for the most part. And I think that's worth something considering the build we're doing and the results we've been producing already. And we're still at 47 points. See you to start season 13. And here's a look at the rotations for the year. Of course, we'll reduce it down to about 7 in conference play. Coach sliders didn't change any, so we'll take a look at a few of the freshmen we're bringing in. The other guys at. Oh wow, this guy was a steal. He was like number 200 player. Oh, F potential though. Ooh, go ahead and give him that red shirt. And here's the other. Alright, we'll see you guys at the end of the year. So here we are once again, the end of season. Best year yet with Tulsa. Probably the year that saves our jobs. We went 25-7 on the year, 14-2 in conference play, bringing home a regular season conference championship. As good of a year as we had, things look promising going into the conference tournament, but we would be upset by the Memphis Tigers in the first round. Then here's a look at the Final Four. Rhode Island taking it home, beating Georgia Tech. Here are the team stats on the year. Led the conference pretty much across the board. And here's a look at this year's awards. And like I said, Carson was first team All-American. So he'll be coming back next year to try to repeat that performance. I believe he'd be the first multi-time All-American in the Hall of Fame. So yeah. That'd probably definitely get him in. There we go. Finally making some progress here. Freshman of the year for us. 2 first team all conference selections. And of course an all freshman selection. We only had 1 recruit this year, but I'm really glad we got this guy, Attilas Chavis. First of all, A- potential. Then if you look at those ratings, he's looking like that pace and space 4 at 6'8", 240 pounds. So I'm probably going to end up working on his skill some, but he's going to be a beast. We add some points to the leaderboard. We are now at 51. I'll see you guys to start the next season. Here we are to start season number 14. Take a look at our rotations, expectations this year. Maybe multiple conference banners. We're ranked number 17 preseason, number 94 overall. So we're the best by a wide margin in the conference. We'll take a look at that freshman we picked up here. Going to work on his outside shooting and skills in his redshirt year to get him to where we need to be, that pace and space 4. Here we are to end another great season, 30-3 on the year, so we got another 30-win season as well as another regular season conference championship, going 14-2 on the year in conference play. In the CUSA conference tournament, We would run through Marshall in the first round, as well as UAB on our way to play ECU, Eastern Carolina University, in the championship game. And we won. It did look like they were coming back for a minute, but we were able to seal away the victory. In the first round of the tournament, we handled Pacific. Kind of sad LSU beat Radford. We could have got Radford again in this second round to send us to the Sweet 16, but it is what it is. Here we are, our individual stats on the year. Good on these guys. They really played really good this year. And in terms of the team stats, we just blow everybody out the way in the conference. So let's go on to national rankings. We had the number 1 points per game, as well as assists, up there in steals and blocks. Ooh, one of the best teams in terms of turnover ratio as well. See where we rank in terms of field goal percentage. The best in terms of field goal percentage. If only we had better 3-point shooters. Here's a look at this year's awards. Still can't believe Bowling Green won that. first team all conference selections and a second team all conference selection. These are our recruits for the year. We were in the running for some All Americans, but it just wasn't meant to be. And to recap the year, our legacy score is now at 60, so we're moving on up. We should pass Billy Donovan pretty soon. As we go into season number 15, this is what our rotations look like. We'll go to the freshmen, and of course, expectations this year have to be banners, maybe even a Final Four run, as we are preseason number 7. So here we are, the end of another season. We went 35-3 on the year, 15-1 in conference play, so another regular season conference championship. And as you can see, we got a 1 seed in the tournament. The conference tournament would see us bulldoze through Marshall, then do the same to Tulane. Actually, no, we didn't. We barely beat Tulane, but enjoy the highlights of our championship game. And we dismantle Memphis by 20 points almost. Now, in this tournament, we would obliterate the 16 seed Boston University. Luck of the draw, we had two Sun Belt conference teams playing in the 8-9 matchup. So we get to our first Sweet 16 of the video, where we would take down Virginia. Then in the Elite 8, we would do the same to St. Joe's. If you look at it so far, very dominant run. Almost a 40-point win here. Pretty much 20-point win here, another 20-point win. Then here, 13 against St. Joe's. So very dominant showing by us. But in the Final Four, we will face Oklahoma State. So Tulsa versus Oklahoma State. Little in-state rivalry there. Enjoy those highlights. And wouldn't you know who won the pony? The Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. So now we'll go on to play NC State in the championship round. Enjoy these highlights. And every game we won by double digits. So very dominant tournament run. Hey, first chip for Mr. Presti. Here are our individual stats on the year. Take a look at our percentages. See what everybody shot. The Noija here in Goya from Omaha, Nebraska. Very efficient year for these simulations. High volume shooter, shot 46 from the field, 42 from the 3, and 82 from the charity stripe. So good on that. Team stats as usual, we just lead the way in Conference USA. So let's go to the NCAA leaderboard. And we're at the top in a whole bunch of categories. Steals, wow. Very good defensive team this year. One of the best teams in terms of turnovers and fouls. Let's see where we rank in terms of shooting percentages. And not that high, except for free throw percentage. Here are the awards for the year. We finally got a Coach of the Year award. Oh wow, so we went against the Defensive Player of the Year and beat them. And Goya got a first team All-American. Wow, so I'd have to imagine he's at least in the running for Conference Player of the Year. Usually the bigs get it because, especially in these smaller conferences, they can just like kind of reel off a bunch of cheap rebounds and score a bunch of empty points, a bunch of empty stats. Oh, so we did get the Player of the Year. This guy might be a Hall of Fame candidate. First team All Conference. See, he's leaving. Now we actually ran a 3-guard lineup this year because he's a point guard. He was recruited as a point guard. So his passing and handling was really high. So I was hoping to get him back, but it is what it is. We have Smith as second team performer. Here's a look at our signings this year. This guy right here, Emmanuel Almonson, our highest ranked recruit to date at number 27. This guy's a shooter. Here we are at the end of another season. 83 points total for the legacy score. So I do think we'll be fairly high up. But first we will, before we go to the new season, induct a new player into our Hall of Fame. So Norman Ngoya out of Omaha, Nebraska, who played point guard for Tulsa, leaving the university as a senior, standing at 6'1", 182 pounds. Wore number 10 during his time at Tulsa, finishing with a overall of 96, which is tied for the highest overall in the Hall of Fame. He played in 3 NCAA tournaments, once winning a Final Four, along with a Final Four MOP, as he hung a national championship banner for Tulsa University, won 3 regular season conference championships, 2 conference tournament championships, was a first team All-American in his senior year, as well as the Conference Player of the Year that year. He was twice first team All-Conference and also was All-Conference freshman. He finishes with a legacy score of 52, and he is the leader for total number of assists in our Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Alright, here's a look at the roster, rotation. Take a look at our freshmen, but there were no changes made to the coaching profile. And to end the season, we are 29-5 overall, 13-3 in conference play. The conference tournament would see us get through the first 2 rounds with relative ease, and we'll go on to the championship game. And we win that game with relative ease as well. In the NCAA tournament, where we were in 8th seed, we would beat Northwestern pretty easily. And then upset number 1 overall seed Michigan, coming back from a first half deficit of about 8 points to win by about 6. And we would lose to Kansas in the Sweet 16 in a regular season rematch. We'll take a look at the Final Four. So while 2 teams that were in our Final Four last year, we beat both of them. They played in a championship game. Here are our individual stats on the year. Take a look at their percentages. And again, we lead CUSA in all stats pretty much for team stats. Here's a look at this season's awards. Here's a look at this year's recruiting class. We signed our first 5-star recruits, as well as our first All-Americans. And to cap off the year, we are now at a score of 92. Billy Donovan right on your heels. No Carolina. So here we are to start another season. This is no changes to coaching, sliders. This is our rotation. Take a look at the freshmen. So here we are at the end of the season. We went 26-5 on the year, 15-1 in conference play. The conference tournament this year would actually see us get bounced in the first round. And in the NCAA tournament, we would wax Jacksonville University, Chaves, whatever. It's having that's 38-13 with 3 blocks. Then we get bounced in the second round. Here's a look at our individual stats on the year. Chaves just had a phenomenal career here at Tulsa. And here's a look at the team stats. Again, just really outdid everyone in conference play. And we'll take a look at this year's awards. Chavez winning 2 back-to-back Player of the Years, and also back-to-back years he was first team All-Conference. And here's a look at this year's recruits. We were able to get 2 5-star All-American shooting guards. And we are now at the University of Texas, as you can see by the burnt orange hook 'em horns. We now have a legacy score of 96. See you guys to start the next season. And here's a look at the Texas roster we inherited. Really only one true big here. This guy right here, I switched him over from small forward So we're gonna play small ball really. Let's actually change those now. Need to do the 4-round one. And we're gonna have to shoot a whole bunch of threes. Get a lot of offensive rebounds for those threes as well. Alright, and I'll see you guys. We'll talk about how the season goes at the end. Here we are once again, the end of the year, 29-5 on the regular season, 15-1 in conference play. Even though we won the regular season title in our first year, could not pull off the double whammy and win the conference tournament. Kind of skated past A&M and then lost to Oklahoma State. As the number 1 overall seed, we would beat we would beat Brown by almost 60 points and then lose to Indiana by almost half that. Here's a look at our individual stats. Check out Starkey, 7.4 rebounds, 3.1 blocks a game, 1.1 steals, and our first ever player to win DPOY. Hats off to him. And we were really cooking this year, leading the Big 12 in scoring. Really every category, we were just by far and away the best team in the league. Here are the awards for the year. Boy, I hate this glitch. There we go, DPOY. And in year 1, we're able to bring in some good recruits, so we'll take a look at them. And our legacy score is now up to 100 after adding a regular season conference title and a tournament bid. Now we'll take a look at the rotation to start the year, and as we go through the freshmen, I'll outline our expectations for the year, which really our expectations are just to make the NCAA tournament. Lost a whole lot of talent, as you can see, but that's it. That's all we got. Just make the NCAA tournament. So here we are, end of the season, 25-10 on the year, 9-7 in conference play. We kind of came into this conference tournament needing to get the win. We would rout Nebraska in the first round. Then we'd get by Missouri in the second round. This would take us to the Big 12 championship game, our first time playing in one of these, so enjoy. Hook 'em horns. We found a way to hang another banner this year despite the poor regular season conference performance. 9-7 middle of the pack. We were able to win the conference tournament championship, so we'll be on to the big dance. And here in the big dance, we would beat Georgetown by about 7 points in round one. Clifton going off for 26 points. And then we would fall to Miami, the number 3 seed, in the second round. Clifton had another 20-plus point performance, so good on that for him. Take a look at our Final Four, which saw Temple bring it home. Here we go. Here are our individual stats on the year. Clifton played pretty good. Looks like he may have won some awards, and he was actually the Conference Player of the Year as well as First Team All-Conference. We still managed to rank really high up in the Big 12 standings despite the poor season we had, and we really did it in a weak conference if you look at it, because we only got 3 tournament teams, and of those 3 there was a 9 seed and 2 6 seeds. That's pretty weak. And here's a look at this year's awards. Man, I hate those glitches. I really feel like I didn't start getting those glitches until I started playing on a PC. Right here, our guy right here is the freshman All-American team. Right now, he's an 82 overall. I want to say he started as like a 77, so he progressed 5 points in 1 year. So we are doing what we're supposed to do, because he had a really high potential. Where's it at now? See, it's still at A-. Had a really high potential. So I was like, all right, let's let's work on his rebounding and his defense, so that way he could serve his role as a big man on the team. And he went up 5 points. So he's going to be one of the best players on the team next year. So hopefully he goes up 5 more points pretty soon. So there's Clifton winning Conference Player of the Year. He had 2 first-team all-conference performers. I want to say he went to draft. Yeah, he had a chance to come back, but he went to draft. If he'd have came back, it'd have been over for him. We also have 2 first-team all-Big 12 freshman performers. Here's a look at our signings. Rather weak recruiting class. Second best player in the recruiting class is a point guard from England. And honestly, I don't draft world players once I get to the power rankings the power conferences, unless I just can't get anybody. That's what it was. We did get 3 bigs, though, so it looks like we will have fixed our issue with bigs. I'll probably redshirt at least 2 of these centers next year. And an update on our legacy score, we are now up to 103, just 10 points off of Billy Donovan. Here we are to start yet another season. Here's a look at our rotation. So Grove actually grew 2 more points, Pauls. So he went from a 77 at the start of last year to an 84 at the start of this year. So that's some big growth, Pauls, from freshman to sophomore year. Looking for him and Hendricks to carry the team to probably an NIT or like maybe 12 seed. We are not good. I changed the sliders to reflect what's going on here. Real quick, we'll take a look at all of the freshmen. Here we go. And here's a look at those sliders. We got a lot more size this year, and we're not really that good offensively, so we're just going to play really tough defense and close out possessions. So, see how it goes. Hopefully we make the tournament. See you guys at the end of the year. Hey, so lo siento mucho, very sorry. I already saved and forgot to record the previous season's results. Really nothing to write home about. We went 20-14 on the year, lost in the second round of the NIT. Nothing really to write home about. Take a look at this year's roster. One thing I will say from last year's individual stats, Alpe, he really went all for us, averaging 16 points a game. But that's the only thing of note that kind of really stood out. That Nardi was a really good player last year. 16-8 for the year is pretty good. But really, we brought back everybody from last year's squad, and we also added 2 freshmen. So we'll take a look at them. Here's he was number 52 overall. 56. Got him after we couldn't get an All-American point guard, but this was the crown jewel of our recruiting class, number 13 overall, number 2 for his position, high school All-American out of California. And I'm really looking to make him that pace and space 4. So, see you guys in the year. This season will see us go 27-9 on the year, 11-5 in conference play. This year's conference tournament will see us squeak by Nebraska in the first round. Then in the second round, we would skate past Kansas State. Alpe drops 37. I believe that's a career high for him. And we'll go on to the championship round. Hook 'em horns, we did it. Taking down Oklahoma State. Here's a look at the box score. Then we drew the 4th seed in the West, so they effectively think we're the 20th best team in the country. We come out guns a-blazing, blanking Weber State, then Illinois, and even beating our conference foe, Oklahoma State, by 3 points in the Sweet 16. We would go on to the Elite 8 against Pittsburgh. This is where the party would end, and it's sad because we're in Phoenix. It's kind of close, a whole lot closer to us than Pittsburgh, so it was more like a home game for us. And Pittsburgh was like a 90 overall. We were like a 99. Here's a look at the Final Four. Pittsburgh just couldn't see it through, my boy. Here's a look at our player stats on the year. Alpay here, really close to having a 50, 40, 90 season. Almost about the closest I've had in the game. It's 46 from the field, 44 from 3, and then 85 from the free throw line. Here's a look at the team stats. We pretty much ran away, or were at the top for every category in the Big 12. Here's a look at this year's awards. Finally, no glitch on Player of the Year. Oh, point guard won DPOY for the national. That's crazy. He was also our national play. Hey, this is Marcus Smart, ain't it? We had 2 all-conference performers, one on the first, one on the second team, and Francis was an all-freshman team performer. He'll be looking to go into that starting role with our first team all-Big 12 player leaving early for the draft. And he had a really stellar year as well. And we are here. We have tied Billy Donovan at 113. What year we're on? I think we're about to start year 22. So if I had to guess, I say we may overtake Bob Knight. Remains to be seen. Alright, catch you guys starting next season. Here's a look at this year's rotation. We brought in no freshmen. Expectations for the year were preseason number 3, so I say Final 4. And here we are to end the year. Phenomenal season, 36-3 on the year, 16-0 in conference play. So we went undefeated in a power conference. Nothing to scoff at. The Big 12 tournament would see us mow through Colorado. And then we'd barely get by, 10-point game, comfortable win against Kansas State. Alpay and Francis dueling it out for conference tournament MVP. Let's go to the championship round and see who gets it. Well, if I had to give it to anybody here, it'd probably be Hendricks. 34 points to will us to the win. We dropped 50 in the first half, 53 in the second. Just overall dominant performance. Things were set up so perfectly for us to make the tournament and go to the Final Four. 89-92 overall here between Ohio State and Louisville. Then Indiana was like a 92, and we lost to them. Good gosh. Take a look at these box scores real quick. And Stanford would go on to win the whole shebang. Here are our player stats on the year. Good on us. We had 5 guys average 10 points or more. 2 of those guys averaging 20 plus points, and the third averaging 16. So we were really lighting it up. Here's a look at our team stats. 99 points a game. That is insane. The second team in the country had 87. We were by far and away the best team. Wow. Up there in rebounds, leader in assists and steals. Up there in blocks. Up there in turnovers in the good way. Same for fouls per game. Let's check out shooting percentage. Yeah. Best team in terms of shooting percentage. And second best in terms of 3-point percentage. So we're just a dominant team. Like, this is an all-time great team. Sucks they had to end it in the Sweet 16. Here's a look at this year's awards. So we were able to get Alpay a second team All-American. Is Francis coming back? Yes. He's going to be Player of the Year candidate, no doubt. Conference Coach of the Year. Francis was also the Conference Player of the Year, so he was Conference Player of the Year. But his teammate was a second team All-American, and he didn't make the All-American team. Tisk, tisk, tisk. We got 4 first team all-conference players. One of them will be returning. Here's a look at this year's recruiting class. No All-Americans. We got Mr. Basketball right here for Utah. But really like the players in here. Let you guys take a look at them. It's a deep recruiting class, and I think these guys are going to develop rather quickly. They'll end up winning a whole lot of games during their time at Texas University. Come Horns, baby. And as we close out year number 22, we have a legacy score of 124. We're right on Hank Eva's heels, as well as Eddie Sutton and Bob Huggins. Jay Wright, I think we're going to pass you. So again, I think it's going to determine, we're going to be in that Lou Olson, Bobby Knight range, I feel like. If we can keep having years like that, making teams like that, then top 10 is a possibility. But I see somewhere like 13, 14. Here we are to kick off season number 23. Change the coaching sliders. We're only going 8 deep to start the year, so that should let you know how shallow the bench is. Let's go take a look at that. Here's our rotations. Let me just straighten this out. All right, there we go. So we'll go over the freshmen. But this year, expectation is definitely Final Four, because even though, like, after right here, we kind of fall off tremendously, still have a whole bunch of guys at the top, and that's who's going to get the minutes that are really good. Francis should have a National Player of the Year type season. So without further ado, let's get it cracking. But real quick before we do, here are the freshmen, so we'll take a look at them. I will be redshirting a couple Oh, he's gonna have to get that red shirt. He's definitely getting one. I think there's two more. Okay. All right, we'll see you guys at the end of the year. Here we are to end season number 23. We again get 30 wins, almost getting to 40 with 38 wins. 16-0 in conference play, so that's back-to-back years. We went undefeated in conference play. Um, and if we were to win the Big 12 Conference Championship, that would be, what's 19 plus 19? 8, that would be 38 straight wins against Big 12 opponents. So let's see how we fare. The conference tournament would see us blank Baylor in round one. And then in round two, we would do the same to Missouri. Francis 30-point performances in both games. We'll go on to play our in-state rival Texas A&M for the conference championship. We put it on them too. Francis showed out this tournament. Easily a star-making performance at him. We entered the NCAA tournament as the best team in the country, claiming the number 1 overall seed. We work over UNCG fairly easily. Then we beat Kansas, another Big 12 opponent, by a grand total of 8 points. Then we go on to beat Miami by 8 points as well. Then in the Elite 8 game, we would take down Arkansas by 8 points again. So we've been winning kind of comfortably, I'd say, but we're going to go into the Final Four to take on South Carolina. And we performed admirably against South Carolina. Ooh, that was ugly at 1.3 to 35 to start the game. It's insane in the Final Four. But we'll go on to play in the national championship, so enjoy those highlights. take down LSU, once again winning by 8 points. Francis getting an MOP. He's definitely got to be a candidate for the Hall of Fame now. We'll put his numbers in and see how they shake out. And here's a look at our individual stats on the year. Here's a look at the team stats. Not as dominant as last year, but we're still pretty much at the top of the conference with everything. And here's a look at this year's awards. So Francis was a first-team All-American this year. Strong case for this guy to make that Hall of Fame. Another conference coach of the year, and he won conference player of the year. Is that back-to-back? Yeah, he's probably definitely in there. First team all conference twice, conference player of the year twice, championship, Final Four, MOP, and first team All-American. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's in there. Too bad he's not coming back for a senior year. That would really be special. He'd be one of the most decorated players of all time in college sports if he came back. The recruiting class for us is tiny but mighty this year as we get the number one player in the country, our home state, Mr. Basketball out of Grand Prairie, Texas. Here's a look at his attributes. Then we'll take a look at his stats. I really can't wait to get him in and mold him into a great player. He looks like he's going to be that baby Bron, pace and space 4. And here we are to end another season, 142. So we passed Jay Wright. Top 10 is looking like a possibility if we can have 1 or 2 more years like that. We'll go on to the next season, but before we do that, we do have a new member of the Hall of Fame, Ahmad Francis from Redondo Beach, California. Played small forward for Texas, standing in at 6'9", 277 pounds. Left the university as a junior. He was a McDonald's All-American, number 13 overall player, 2 at his position, and he wore number 33 for the Longhorns. He left with an overall of 97. He played in 3 NCAA tournaments, going to the Sweet 16 twice and making a run for a national championship, and also a Final Four most outstanding player when he won that championship. He won 2 regular season conference titles. Both times he won those conference titles in the regular season, they went undefeated in the Big 12, and he won 3 straight Big 12 conference tournament championships. He once in his junior year was awarded a first team All-American status. He was twice a first-team All-Conference player and twice the Conference Player of the Year, as well as freshman All-Conference. Here's a look at his stats, and finishing with a legacy score of 63. So salute, hats off to him. See you guys to start the next year. Here we go to begin yet another year. We're keeping the same coaching sliders, but this will be our lineup. We're kind of at a point now where we're progressing guys so fast that our players are leaving really fast. So it'll be interesting to see how we close out this series. Will we be void of talent for that reason? But expectations, compete for conference championships this year. See you guys at the end of the year. Here we are at the end of another season, 22-13 on the year, 10-6 in conference play. The Big 12 tournament would see us get waxed by Missouri in the first round. Looks like everybody got their get back on us this year for just how dominant we've been in conference. And here's a look at your Final Four. We did not make the NCAA tournament this year. Here's a look at our individual player stats. Nothing that really stands out. And same can be said for the team stats. Here's a look at this year's awards. A bunch of glitched out garbage, honestly. Like, come on, 3 players averaging 40 points a game. We did get freshman All-American. He'll be a starter for us next year. I will say one thing about this build: you really do develop guys. Like, we have developed guys. Here's a look at this year's recruiting class. Pretty solid. We once again get the #1 overall player. And our legacy scores are unaffected. So let's go on to year 25. Here's a look at this year's rotation. We'll also take a look at some of the freshmen. Expectation here: compete for conference championships for our guys, as again, we're not very good this year. We'll take a look at our coaching sliders. Our strength is shooting, so this is what we're going with this year. Here we are to end season number 25, 23-12 on the year, 11-5 in conference play. In the conference tournament, we'll see us bow out in the first round to Oklahoma. In the NCAA tournament, we would beat Tulane in the first round, but then we would fall to #1 seed Georgia Tech in the second. Here's a look at our player stats on the year. Here's a look at this year's awards. Only one recruit this year, but he is the #2 overall player, #1 shooting guard, 19 points a game in the ABL. Out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, Andy Lindsay. I think it's going to be a really good player for us. And we now added 1 point to be 143 on the legacy score. See you for season number 26. Here's this year's rotation. We'll go over the freshmen, but really nothing changed other than this freshman being on the bench. And marvelous player. 87 overall starting out the gate. 82 consistency out the gate. Gonna work on his long range shooting. Make him a 3-point threat. And I imagine he'll be gone next year. Either next year or the year after. Either way, we're going to try and get some mileage out of him. Pause. Expectations for the year: Final Four at least. Let's get it. We are at the end of season number 26, 37-6 on the year, 12-4 in conference play, hanging another regular season banner. The Big 12 Conference Tournament would see us roll through Baylor in round 1. Then in round 2, do the same thing to Oklahoma. We will now go on to the championship round to take on the Kansas Jayhawks. Well, that was Rock Chalk Jayhawk if I ever seen it. I think Strong had like 23 points in the first half, I think, and finished with 25. Rough loss, but hey, you can't win them all. That's just how it falls sometimes. We would get the number one seed in the Southern region, playing our first round game in Birmingham, Alabama against Martis. Easy win. Same for round two in St. Peters, Florida. But in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, we would be playing in Houston. And again, easy victories for us. Not really been challenged yet on this tournament run. We look very dominant, like all-time dominant. Now we'll go on to the Final Four, where we will play Notre Dame. Big win over Notre Dame. We are as dominant as any team has ever been in the NCAA tournament. Let's finish this out against North Carolina. Beat them Tar Heels. Ouch, ouch. Hurts it had to be Carolina. Tough loss. All-time great team here. I'm still going to export them because they are all-time greats, but when it came down to it, just couldn't finish it out. Here's a look at our stats on the year. Strong had a really good year. 23, 6 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, and 3 blocks a game. He shot the ball very well too. 49 from the field, 42 from 3, and 85% from the free throw line. So all time in terms of just how good of a year he had. One of the best years I've had on this game. He was second team All-American Conference Player of the Year. He should have been first team All-American and maybe even National Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year, but you'll see he kind of got glitched out. Here's a look at our team stats. Wow, we played 43 games, but dominated overall, per usual. And here's a look at this year's awards. See, got glitched out. That's garbage. Honestly, I feel like I should just give him those awards, but I'm not going to do it because I already ran his stuff into the Hall of Fame, and he didn't make it. His score was like 31, but it would have been like 45, 42, 45 if he had been given the awards he was supposed to properly get. But hey, sometimes you get robbed. Here's a look at this year's signings, light recruiting class. And now taking a look at the updated leaderboard. After this season, we are now at 163, so we are firmly above Lou Olson for number 14. Hoping we can crack that top 10. It'll be close. It will be close. But I'll see you guys to start season number 27. Here's a look at this year's rotation. We'll take a look at 2 freshmen we brought in. Let's see, one here. And one here. No, here. Wow, 99 layup out the gate is insane. Kyrie layup package. This guy right here with red shirting, he's a walk-on. But this year, expectation I'd say is again a Final Four. We're ranked number 8, but we have the highest overall in the country. It's really because we don't have a lot of unity because a lot of these guys didn't play last year. But here at Texas with this potential rebuild, we don't rebuild, we just reload. So I'll catch you guys at the end of the year. So here we are to end yet another season. 34-4 on the year, 14-2 in conference play. So another regular season conference championship in the books. The Big 12 tournament would see us blow past Missouri, then defeat Colorado in round 2, en route to a Red River shootout against Oklahoma. So enjoy these highlights. There we go. Atkinson, 21 and 12. Just to give you a look at his stats real quick, 7.6 assists on the year. He's just a really good player. In the NCAA tournament, we would be the #1 overall seed, blowing past Liberty, skating by Loyola Marymount, LMU. And this was a precursor for things to come as we got destroyed by Pittsburgh. Here's a look at our individual stats on the year. And just to give you some insight into next year, next year's going to be one of the best teams we've ever had. May have issues at point guard, but as good as this team was, so look at this guy, 95 overall. He said, let's run it back. 94 overall. He said, hey, let's run it back. Now these two guys are gone. 94 overall center said, let's run it back. 93 overall power forward. Probably move him small forward. He said, hey, let's run it back. I think I'll be moving him to small forward. He said, hey, let's run it back. Or it could be him, who also said, let's run it back. And I may have to move this guy to the point because we don't really have any other point guards on the roster. But we are looking to be a very good team next year. So let's take a look at their individual shooting percentages real quick. Tucker shot 55% on the year. He'll be coming back for next year. Atkinson, on top of averaging 7.6 assists, shot 45 from the field and 45 from three. So, I mean, we just have a lot to look forward to next year. Here's a look at the team stats. Pretty much dominated the Big 12 all around again. And here's a look at this year's awards. Wow, what a glitch. We were the Coach of the Year. So Atkinson did make second team All-American, as well as second team All-Conference. That's wow. Well, I guess the guy on first team All-American is a point guard from our conference, so makes sense. So weak conference player of the year, and I was actually in the mix to recruit this guy. Oh well. We have 4 second team All-Conference performers. And on top of everything we're returning this year, this is what our recruiting class looks like. We have 5 players in the top 23, including 2 point guards, which we'll desperately need going forward. Take a look at these guys and their stats and ratings. And here's an update to the legacy scoreboard. We are in a 3-way tie for 11th with Denny Crum, RIP, and Jim Boeheim. We'll definitely pass them to take 11 outright. So this was season 27. Yes. So we have at least season 28, 29, and 30. So we got 3 more years. I think we definitely pass Izzo, and we may pass Patino. But all right, we'll get started with season number 28. Here's a look at this year's rotation. We'll take a look at all of the freshmen before we go to our new coaching sliders. But overall, this team should win a championship. We've got 5 players rated at 93 or higher. And the players that are rated below them, they fit what we're trying to do this year really well, which is going to be some good old pace and space. We're shooting a whole bunch of threes and running at a high tempo. But let's take a look at the freshmen. Here's that center. We actually hit on a bunch of these guys. They're all really pretty good players. Only ended up redshirting 2. Now let's take a look at these new coaching sliders. So essentially what we're trying to do, put up a whole bunch of threes, a whole bunch of fast break buckets, and hope that no matter how good the other team is, we're just going to naturally outscore them. It's kind of a key strategy in this game. If you get a bunch of guys that can score, just let them shoot the shots, set their tendencies high. They'll make a bunch of the shots, and you'll win a lot of games. All right, let's go on to season number 28. Catch you guys at the end. Here we are to end the season. Not what you would expect out of a run it back type of year. Looking like the preseason number 1 Tar Heels. 24-11 on the year. 9-7 on conference play, but we did at least make the tournament. Things would look promising in the first round of the Big 12 tournament as we routed Kansas State, but then we would lose to Kansas. In the NCAA tournament, we were the 6th seed in the East, so we pretty much got a hard bracket, but we played well in the first round. Villanova was like a 97 overall, so that's a tough first round matchup. Then we obliterated 3 seed UNLV. And then we would do the same, well, not the same, we would beat by 2 our in-conference rival Colorado. Morale is 27-12, all-time Sweet 16 performance. A little March Madness going on here. 6th seed making a run to the Elite 8, where we'll take on the number 1 overall seed Alabama, and no dice. We got routed. Made us look like mincemeat. Oregon would go on to win the whole shebang. Here's a look at our players' stats on the year. Nothing too crazy. And even though we were really middle of the pack in the conference, we led in a lot of categories, and we're at the top in a lot of categories, statistically speaking. Here's a look at this year's awards. Thankfully, no glitches. At least it appears to be that way. This guy, 172 points per game, 50 rebounds, 17.3 assists, 11 steals, and 7.8. That's like the lost Wilt Chamberlain season that nobody ever saw. So we did have 2 first-team all-conference performers and 2 second-team all-conference performers, as well as an all-freshman performer. Here's a look at this year's signings. I think they'll fit very well with what we're trying to do next year. And we have done it. We have cracked the top 10. We are now comfortably at number 10 with, I believe, 2 more seasons to go. Yep, with 2 more seasons to go, we are comfortably at number 10. Maybe we can challenge Rick Pitino for number 9. We'll see how it goes, but I'll catch you guys to start season number 29. So here we are to start the year. We'll start with taking a look at the coaching sliders. This is what we're going with to start the year. We'll probably drop this down to 7 or keep it the same by the time we get to the end of the year. Let's take a look at our roster and rotation. So before we take a look at the 2 freshmen we brought in, roster this year is really good at the top. That's one of the benefits of this potential build. Not that we're recruiting players with that great potential, because I haven't seen that. But what I have seen is we're developing players at an outstanding clip. So these guys right here, they're 94 and a 92. If I wasn't doing this, they'd probably be hovering around like 88, 89 right now. And these guys, right, like these are some of the freshmen from last year, right here, right here, and right here. This guy was an 81. I believe he was a 77, 76. And so was this guy. So we're really getting dividends off of how we develop these guys. Same, this guy right here was like a 79. So we're really getting dividends off of how we develop them. But get that point guard some more minutes just because he doesn't have a lot of experience. So the uphill battle this year is going to be with the experience. Take a look at these freshmen while I talk. We don't really have a whole lot of experience, so that's going to probably be our downfall in the beginning of the season. But I look for us to be much improved by the time we make it to the end of the year. I'll catch you guys at the end of the season. So here we are to end yet another season, the final season, calling it now, national championship. That's the expectation, and we got a squad to do it. You can just take a look at them here. Really going to play through summers. We haven't gotten a national player of the year yet, so hopefully we get it with him. If we do, it'll be something, nice little cherry on top. But we'll take a look at the freshmen who we are bringing in, which I believe it was just like one or two. So here's one. What was he? Number 46 overall. Number 9 overall player. Might have been 3 guys. Yeah, 3. I think he was number 3 overall, so he's more of a project player. Man, I don't know. I might have to do his career. We'll see how he progresses. Depending on how he progresses, I might just finish the career, see him at when he leaves, because he's got potential to be good. But all right, see you guys at the end of the year and maybe our last season. And here we go for the final time in this season. For the final time in this video, at the end of a season, we went 33-5 on the year, 14-2 in conference play. So another regular season conference championship in the books. In the conference tournament, we would dominate Texas Tech in round 1, but then in round 2, we would fall to Colorado. I swear this is like our 5th straight year of run it back teams, but round 1, run it through Radford, then Richmond with ease, 47-8 all-time NCAA performance. Then we barely get past in-conference rival Oklahoma State before we fell to LSU, who we've played a couple times in this simulation. I scheduled them frequently just because they were an SEC team that was close, but we ended up losing. Let's look at our final national championship team, which is going to be UCLA. Here's a look at our stats. We will not have any other players from Texas make the Hall of Fame. This guy, he was close. He was really, really close, but no dice. Just didn't win enough. Well, hold on. Let me run the numbers again and make sure. But something stand out. We had 2 guards get 5 and 6 assists on the year. We'll take a look at our shooting percentages. So we had some guys shoot the ball really, really well. Summers shot 45 from the field, 43 from 3, 82 from the free throw line. Averaged, what did he average? 23 a game, along with 7 rebounds, 2 steals and a block. And the best they could give him was 2nd team All-American, 1st team All-Conference. It's glitching is at hand. Here's a look at the team stats on the year. We pretty much dominated the Big 12 across the board. So let's take a look at how we did nationally. So nationally, just about the same thing. Really at the top for just about everything nationally. Even shooting wise, not for 3 though, but for free throw line as well. So we're really good statistically. Here is a look at the awards for the year. Oh wow, we had Defensive Player of the Year here. So I believe that's our 2nd time in this sim getting that, which is odd because in our defensive build, we didn't get it once. We were trying to make great defensive players. Very interesting. So everybody was all conference for us as far as our starters. All right, and before we wrap up with our final legacy score recap, we shall look at our player who actually did make the Hall of Fame, the iMaynor College Hoops 2K Hall of Fame. That is going to be Shagari Summers, coming from Louisville, Kentucky, who played small forward for the University of Texas, wearing the number 21. He's a former McDonald's All-American and Mr. Basketball. He was the number 22 recruit nationally and number 6 for his position. He stood at 6'10", 218 pounds. Mr. Summers played in 4 NCAA tournaments, 4 Sweet 16s, 3 Elite Eights, and 1 Final Four, and won 2 regular season conference championships, 2 for the tournament championship and 2 for the regular season championship. He was also a second team All-American, as well as being a 2-time first team all-conference player. Mr. Summers leaves Texas with a legacy score of 51, and he has also played the most games out of anybody in the Hall of Fame. So here we are with our final legacy score. It will be a score of 206. So that would put us tied with Rick Pitino at number 9. So we finished winning 16 regular season conference championships, 15 tournament conference championships, having 12 30-win seasons, 22 NCAA tournament appearances, 10 appearances in Sweet 16, 6 in the Elite 8, 4 in the Final Four, and 2 national championship appearances. Give it up for Sam Presti. He did a great job, and he will be number 9 on our Hall of Fame coaches list. Now to go see where he ranks in terms of our other simulations we've done. And he comes in at number 2, right behind the Steve Nash small ball career sim that we did. Right, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the video. Real quick, I'm gonna go over what I learned the most from doing this simulation. Alright, and here we are to talk about the final takeaways from this career simulation we've done. The first is that with this kind of strategy, in terms of maxing out first your teaching, then your charisma, and having your assistant coaches, like I did, solely just have the best teaching assistant coaches. So my guys were A+s pretty much for the second half of the sim. My guys were developing at an absurd rate. So if you can get quality recruits, you could get guys like RJ Davis for North Carolina. He was like a top 50 recruit, or like Seth Trimble for Carolina. Same kind of deal. You could just get those kind of guys. You could build championship teams from just how fast you're going to develop them. Even if their potential's as long as it's not like a D, you're going to develop them really, really fast. So, you can really build with this. So even if you're not getting the best recruits, it's you don't have the best horses in the race in terms of breeding, but you may have trained them harder or whatever, so they just develop more. So that's kind of what's going on there. You can really be a program builder, and just so what comes for our second major takeaway, what really comes with that is that you don't have to rebuild a lot, because you're constantly building the guys up. It will kind of hinder them in that they won't have as much experience as the guys that just left, but you're still going to get a lot of wins. So it's more like you're reloading rather than having to rebuild. I will say the recruiting was tough though, because I had setting the recruiting priorities to recruiting didn't help recruit potential. I feel like it did a weird thing where there would it kind of broke everybody into tiers based on skill level, and then their potential rating would rank them in that tier. Because you could still get like D potential guys who were like at the top of the list and All Americans. It just didn't make a lot of sense, but we got it. Um, that's what I will say. So with that, with that, we were recruiting like kind of just a hodgepodge of guys. We were just getting like the best guys according to whatever they were ranking them by. We were just getting them, putting them on the roster and trying to make things fit. So, it made roster construction kind of hard. I struggled like trying to see like, hey, how should we play sometimes, and who should take the most shots. Like, it just made things very difficult in terms of roster construction. Like, I had good pieces, it's just trying to get them to fit. It was kind of hard. That's why I think we didn't win as much as we did in the Steve Nash sim in terms of national championships, because I think the scheme is what propelled Steve Nash. And when we look at this sim with Presti, he won championships and competed at a high level and had these players, but won less championships and had, quite frankly, better players. I mean, like, it might only be so much better, but they were definitely better players. So I may do one more career sim and seeing how, like, if I pair the program building of this simulation with the pace and space or the small ball from the previous simulations. I think that was my fourth takeaway, that maybe that's something that could be game breaking, because you'll have like multiple people on the team 94 and up who can all shoot threes, and you're just raining in threes. So that's all I got for you today. Hope you enjoyed. Be on the lookout for some more content. If you haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Really helps me a lot. And I'll see you next time around. Peace.